And we're back with another episode of I Heard You When You Said, the only podcast where you get to talk to cool people about cool stuff at cool times.
I'm in agreement. Cool people, cool stuff, cool times.
Hey, it might be a cheap word, might used on purpose. And I really think I really think it's worth using. Cool is definitely one of my favorite words.
I believe you.
You believe me?
I believe
You
you.
believe that I believe
I
you?
believe that you believe
Yeah.
you. You chose
Throw,
violence with that language this morning.
throw that back at me here. So today we have a couple of things that are different. Okay, number one, we're displaying our coveted bottle of Old Man
We
Winter.
cherish that one. 2 years we've had that bottle.
Yeah. And it's some good bourbon. It was sent to us by a client of ours named Dustin.
Dustin Lynn.
Shout out Dustin. What's Dustin's business do?
He's a tech company. He lays what is all the wire like for infrastructure that goes into buildings that
Okay.
makes all that happen, like the data lines and all that
Okay.
in Florida.
Oh. He's the data line man.
Yeah, in Florida.
Cool.
And one of the coolest dads I know, he flew his daughter to London to see Taylor Swift.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
Cool dad stuff. Here we come back to cool dad stuff. Speaking of cool dad stuff, we have a cool dad as our guest today. He's cooler, more than a cool dad, but I'm sure he would put that on his business card first. Ryan Adam from North Frisco CrossFit. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, y'all? How are you?
We're good, man. Let me give a little bit of backstory here. So I'm, as I do, looking up local business owners. We play well with CrossFit gyms. Actually, no, this is not how we found
CrossFit gyms.
Yes,
too.
This is not how we found Ryan. We actually know Ryan first and foremost through Dr. Matt. Right?
Shout out Dr. Matt.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Matt at Kinetic Center in Frisco.
Who keeps us doing all the things we do.
He is the person who consistently makes Stacy cry.
Oh my God, yes.
With his, thumb in her whatever muscle.
Yep.
And
so
he is currently about 20 feet to my right, working out in the gym right now as we speak. So at some point, he said he was going to poke his head in here and say hi. So
I'm
I told him to go ahead.
Tangent this conversation so quickly right now, and we will come back to how we met you, Ryan. But sure. I went to see Matt last week, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing great. This is going to be a great visit. I have not hurt myself. I have no pain. This is going to be gold. I'm thinking, no big deal. Okay, the level of wrong. If 1 was low and 10 was high on my level of wrong, it was a 16. And the previous time I was in, we knew that it was going to be painful. We had some quad fascia IT band stuff. And he put his football helmet on because he was afraid I would kick him or hit him. And there was good reason on that day. And this last week, he chose violence on a glute.
That happens.
That I didn't even know. So yeah, you bring that man in. When he's done, you bring him in. So
yeah, if he pokes his head in, I'll tell him to get in here.
Oh,
what you didn't know is that Ryan sees him like once a week.
Oh my gosh!
Every week, every Thursday, I try to get in there and see him. Yep.
Gosh.
Maintenance.
Yeah, right. Ryan already knows about maintenance agreements because his body is his maintenance agreement.
That's right.
I have phantom pain right now in my glute. Just even talking about it. Okay, go ahead.
So Ron, it doesn't have to be, when you, the day you popped out of the hospital, but take us back to where you started, how you got where you are, and give us the 101 on Ryan.
Sure. I'll start that with just full disclaimer, just so nobody gets in any trouble legally anywhere. We are North Frisco Athletics now. We de-affiliated a couple years ago, so I don't want to, get my wrist slapped for saying the wrong thing or promoting the wrong thing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We are a CrossFit gym in our DNA. There's no doubt, but our name is North Frisco Athletics now. So, anywho's, so 1980 is when I was born. You ready for a long story, right? No, I'm just kidding. It won't be that long. Um, Leap year, actually, if you know any leap year babies. Leap
Awesome.
year, February 29th, 1980. That was my born date back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right outside of Pittsburgh. So I'm actually only 11 and a half as we sit here and have this conversation. But born and raised in Pennsylvania, all of my family still lives there. My sister and mother and all my friends pretty much all still live there. Grew up, small town, 800 people south of the city, around 14 years old or something like that. A lot of my older friends started volunteering in the firehouse. Before that, my mom and aunts were nurses. My father was in the military for a little while and then did and worked in construction. So public service had always kind of been the norm for us, though never kind of preached or talked about in that manner. It was just kind of what we did because it was kind of what we knew. So I started volunteering as a fireman when I was 14. Fell in love with that right away. Knew I wanted to be a professional firefighter. When I turned 20, I got that opportunity in Arlington, Virginia, right outside of DC.
Mm.
So December of 2000, I started the fire academy there. Spent from 2000 to 2012 there as a fireman and a captain. Retired in 2012, moved to Texas, started a CrossFit gym, right? Originally, that idea was just, well, that'll get me to Texas until I find a firefighter job. After about a year and a half, there just wasn't any lanes opening up. And what I was doing in the gym was, it was just way more rewarding. And I was touching more people daily as far as affecting their lives with positive outcomes. And I just really loved it. And then at that time, we had 3 kids when we moved to Texas from Virginia. We opened a gym in January of 13. In March, we had baby number 4. And at that point, it was like, well, I guess maybe I can also be the stay-at-home dad-ish that makes a salary because my wife she's super successful, way more successful than I'll ever be. Is really good at her job, works in senior living, has done it for a long time. So she's the breadwinner, and that's the life that she loves and that we love for us. So it just worked out more. Since then, we've had a 5th kid. That's how many we have now. And we are in our 13th year of operation.
It's
We're in our
amazing.
second building. We just added 1,000 square foot expansion, which is what we call our performance center, to add a bunch of new services that we couldn't do before. I have myself at the current time, I have 10 other coaches. We've got right around 200 members. We kind of bounce a little below and a little above that number as any gym does. And just super blessed and super thankful that after all these times and ups and downs, and there have been a lot of ups and there have been a lot of downs. Some of my own doings, some of others' doings, that we are surviving and thriving, and we're still here. We're standing on the rock strong.
I love it. I love it. And that was one of the things that intrigued me the most when we had our conversation, when I came and got to get a taste of what you guys do there at your gym. Is you're like, yeah, I've got 5 kids, and my gym is we've been here for almost 14 years now. I was like, wow, that's a feat in itself, right? Like
Yes, sir.
that you maintain those 2 paths, and more than that, but that the family and the business at the same time, because that's something that um Stacey and I both put in the put in the priority lane when we started our business several years ago. Is, hey, whatever we do, our family still comes first, right? Me and my wife having a younger family, Stacey and her husband having a little bit of an older family in terms of kids. Her kids are 16, 17 plus, and I have a 5-year old and a 10-month old. So anyway, all that to be said is that was what intrigued me. But I want you to start somewhere. um, Something that I mentioned to Stacy yesterday, and I've never heard this conversation before. I never heard it put like this before, but we had a conversation about the life cycle. It was kind of
Mm,
short. So the life cycle of
yeah,
a gym member, and you're like, hey,
sure.
I've had several rotations of people coming into my gym, staying for a number of years, and then moving on for one reason or another and what have you. Cause I looked around at your walls, and I was like, man, there's so many, like, you have so many of these different name plaques and stuff for like teams that competed or individuals or whatever it was, award won. And I'm like, well, that makes sense for a gym that's been there, almost 15 years. And so you were like, well, a lot of these people aren't here anymore. And, this is what happens typically in a gym cycle. Gyms just don't stay open long enough necessarily to see several iterations of that. So talk about that a little bit and how you've experienced.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's two things to really be said about that. And I remember the one that we talked about. I'll start with the one actually we didn't even touch on or talk about that day, but it's another part of it. And that's the cycle of the families that have come through the gym. What's interesting is starting a brand new gym and over your first 4 or 5 years, a lot of the individuals that were here started young and single and then moved to being married and then being married with kids. And then we've seen that cycle go out where they start to cycle their way out because, like, literally what you were just alluding to, they got busy with work, they got busy with kids, they got kids sports, they got all these extra things. So they cycle themselves through the gym. The other part of that is what's really neat, and I love when I see it, is where it's like this husband and wife that started here 5 or 6 years ago with a 6 or 7 year old child. And now not only is the husband and wife working out, now that 11 or 12-year-old child is next to them in the same class working out.
So
It's
cool.
another one of those cycles where it's like, man, we've been we've been here long enough to see mothers and fathers work out, but now their children are working out with them too. That's been one of the coolest things to see and really take a step back as an owner and be like, man, it's really neat that we've created something special for somebody where they feel like they can be here for fitness. That's great. But really, they're here for community and family. And they actually brought more of their family in. So that was one part I think maybe we didn't talk about as much. The one part we did talk about, though, like with the awards and the things that are on the wall, is the fact that once again, they come in young and they want to do CrossFit at a higher level and they want to achieve things and goals and compete. And they do. And that's what we do. And we run that cycle or that gamut for 4 or 5 years. And then it goes one or two ways. It goes, I've got a lot of bumps and bruises and my back doesn't feel great and my knees don't feel great. And maybe I shouldn't go this hard constantly. And they cycle themselves out to jump into Pilates or to jump into an F45 or something that's still a high intensity, but a low impact on our body type deal. Or sometimes what we've seen a lot of, especially lately, is like, well, what's the next best thing? Right? I've done a lot here at this place. Where can I go get different coaching, different programming, a different atmosphere? High Rocks is one of those ones that people look for and search for now. And so that's always kind of been the struggle of holding on to people. And I use that word loosely because you don't ever want to see anybody go. But then you also understand scenarios change and people change and they want to do other things sometimes. And our opinion has been, and mine has always been like, fitness is fitness. If you're getting healthy, if you're doing the right things for your body, then however you achieve that is great on you. Like, who are we to say any different?
Yeah. But I love that you have that opinion and it's not something that you necessarily take personal, when people do decide to rotate through
Yeah,
what the time they've had there and then move to whatever it is that they feel is the next best thing for them in whatever stage they're in
right.
and stuff like that. I want to know, or what I'm curious about is, as a business owner, like when you feel that happening, right? Because you can like feel like, okay, we've slanted, not like we're losing members, so we need to make up that
Yeah.
that gap, but when you feel there's a shift in what people are looking for, have you tried to, or have you made an effort to, like, okay, we're going to offer something fresh in terms of programming. We're going to switch the way things are oriented. Like, what have you done as a almost 15-year business owner to go like, okay, here's how we're going to revive this a little bit.
Uh, Absolutely. The comment you made about not taking it personal and letting and folks moving on, I take it really personal. It's like I anybody that knows me and as we cultivate our relationship, you guys are gonna find out that I'm very emotional and I show my emotions. Like I wear them on my sleeve. at some point in this podcast, I may cry. I have no clue. All of my close friends and majority of my gym owner or my gym clients that are here or that have been here in the past will tell you that I will cry in front of somebody and be emotional. So I'm not worried about that. So I take it personal as in, darn, I really truly care for these folks and I really truly think that we've got the best product for them here. But I don't let that muddy the water as in like, well, they don't want to be here, then I don't need them or I don't want them. Like I would never do anything like that. That's hateful is the way I would say that. I take it very personal. The good news with the, I guess, good or bad news, the good news about taking it personal is that it makes me reflect. And so getting into your question is, yes, like we actually just went through a huge overhaul of our programming to where the majority of our life in 13 years, we've done our own. The last 6 years, myself and my head coach, Evan, we've done all the programming. Every single thing that we've done, we've programmed for the majority of the 6 years. And we just switched that to Mayhem programming. And so now we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing the programming. We're paying for it. Um, we're only 4 weeks into it and we can go down that rabbit hole if we want to. But that's one of the major shifts that we've made to be like, okay, well, yeah, we're hearing a lot of stuff from folks, a lot of conversation. Things are stale. We need to change. Let's try this and let's go that direction. Same thing with the addition that we made. We've got 1,000 square foot addition that I talked about earlier, and that's a part of that also. We can offer extra classes, kids classes, ladies only classes, personal training, a lot of stuff that people want that we couldn't do before because of space or time. Now we can. So um, we've been big proponents of doing surveys a couple of times a year. Hey, how are we doing coaching? How are we doing programming? How is our community events? What do you want more of? What do you want less of? And we always tell our people to be brutally honest. Like, please be honest. If you're not honest with it, we can't make the adjustments. We always make the surveys anonymous, so we don't ever know who they are unless we're like super geeky and track an IP address, which we never would do. We just we would listen to our people and we try to make those changes. So
I think that's great, just to get that feedback. And what also struck me was that, man, here's a business that's been here for over a decade and they're expanding, right?
yeah,
They're putting 1,000 square foot addition to offer stuff that they haven't been able to offer for. I'm like, well, that tells you something, which is also one of the reasons why we wanted to, cultivate a relationship with you. I'm like, well, very few times do you see somebody who's been in business that long who's still looking at how to grow that business. Like they're not comfortable where they are or what have you. Like you said, and to your point, I think part of that does go back to taking things personal, like
Mhm.
taking it, not taking it personal from a judgmental, but taking it personal as
right.
I take it, um, you're my responsibility when you step through those doors. And
Yes,
so
sir.
that's how we operate. And so do you have anything to add to that?
Well, it's exactly where I was going, is that even the language of, because we play with words,
Yeah,
right? Not Ryan's words, because we promised we wouldn't play with Ryan's words
of course
today.
not.
Taking it deeply personal is it's twofold, right? Like hearing Ryan say, I take it this deeply personal. I care.
Yeah,
I care
yeah,
so deeply about every person that comes in here is a gift. And here's the challenge with
yeah,
that gift is then
yeah,
that means people are seen in your gym and in a culture and in a time where people hide behind social media and aesthetics and all of that is that you've created a space that I'll say weeds out people in time that being seen on that level and actually who don't want to grow, they naturally fade away. And the people who are there for 4 or 5 years, bring their children, those are relationships that matter. Like you're impacting legacy
yes.
in
Mm,
everything you do. And so it's not just a workout. It's a marriage. It's a dad. It's a wife. It's somebody growing in their faith at, at their deadlift, which
yeah,
sounds so silly, right?
no,
But
yeah.
it's
It's
not.
all connected.
So to take something so personal this long in, right, tells me so much about you. Like
Thank you.
being committed to your craft, to your community, to your family. I mean, my husband and I have 5 kids. We've been outnumbered for a very long time.
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
for a very long time. We have 5 boys,
Yeah.
so it's straight
Ooh,
it's
nice.
straight feral, over here. Only 3 of them are home. 2 of them, live outside of home. I'm not gonna put only 3 in front of those boys.
Yeah.
So, all of that to say is that the craft that you've made is an absolute gift, and, I love that you take it personal.
Thank you.
Got a we got a
Oh,
we got a dog
got
intruder alert.
got a
Um,
visitor.
all good. So another thing that was really cool, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm putting this is real time thinking on this deal is you programmed you and a combination of you and your coaches have programmed for the life cycle of your gym, right? The entirety
Yeah.
of your gym. And now you're going, and again, no matter what your motivation behind that is, now you're going, okay, look, we're going to give that responsibility over to a program that we're paying for. Obviously, you vetted it, and if anybody who's ever been in the CrossFit space, they're going to know who Mayhem is, and they've likely done
Yeah.
programming either
Absolutely.
directly
Yeah.
or indirectly, because I think a lot of other programs actually take a lot of stuff that Mayhem does and maybe put their own flavor, their spin on it. But
Sure.
to
Sure.
that degree, you've given that over, you're okay with that, and you're learning how to teach that to your members effectively, obviously, right?
Yes.
One of the things that you talked to me about that you were excited about was they had a faith track that literally combined a Bible study aspect
Hmm.
and a fitness aspect. And I know you haven't really gotten to experience like employing that because you've only had it for just over a month now, or however long.
Yeah.
What does what do you think that's going to look like for you? What are you excited about, doing with that?
Yeah. So that it's very intriguing to me, and we've had the program now a month, but we just got access to the actual faith track. And this week is the first week, so we're recording this on a Wednesday. Just Monday was the first posting of the faith stuff we've had. So we've only had it for 3 or 4 days, but essentially the makeup of it, the way that I understand it, just through the basic reading we've done so far, is that it gives Bible readings and scripture every day, 7 days a week on it. I believe it's Wednesday and Saturday. It also prescribes workouts that align with those scriptures, which are pretty neat. They partner with I, I believe the name is Get Strong Ministries. I believe that's who they partner with. They're in Tennessee because that's where Mayhem is out of. So that's a good site to look up. I have that pulled up on my computer, and they do all of their fitness through the disciple of Christ. It's literally what they do. It's the way that they connect it. Um, and I know we spoke a little bit offline with it. It's very interesting if you look at the way the Bible relates to the way the fitness relates. It's very similar, and we have one of our coaches here, Huck, that owns a little company called In Jesus Name We Train. Really, at the end of the day, which is really neat, and we could talk more about that in him. He's awesome. It really, what he would tell you is it comes down to alignment. Just like in your spiritual life, when you have your alignment correct, when you have your God, when you have your family, when you have everything in alignment, life seems to go better. It's the same thing in fitness. When I get ready to do a heavy deadlift, if I have the alignment of my spine and my feet straight and my hands in the right position and my lats tight and my core tight, when I have that alignment, the deadlift seems to go a lot better. So I believe that's one of their approaches as well. Spiritual alignment is just like your fitness alignment. And that's really what I'm excited about on that part. I'll put it on tape and now everybody can hold me to it. I hope that at some point we're able to use that as a Bible study in the gym because that's what Mayhem does with theirs. I don't know if I would do a co-ed Bible study or a strictly male, strictly female Bible study. That hasn't come to me yet. I'm praying on that and asking for that clarity. At some point, hopefully, I'll get that and see which way we need to take that. But I hope that's to where it goes for us here. So,
Yeah. Well, I think
yeah.
I remember when you telling me about that, I was like, well, first of all, that's a cool thing that I I think it's cool that that's even a thing, like
Yes.
that somebody's producing the alignment like you spoke of between scripture and fitness, because we talk about that a lot, right? We talk about, I say we, that's really more of that's the collective we. It is,
You and
yeah,
I,
the
or
mouse in my pocket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that, it's talked about, generally speaking, that like, hey, part of maintaining a walk of faith, right? Part of being a follower of Jesus is that maintaining, the temple that God gave you, right? Like taking care of your body.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
allegedly.
allegedly, right?
Uh,
I have a theory, it's just me. Okay. So take it for what it's worth.
careful what we get started right now.
Yeah. I have a theory.
No.
I have a theory that Jesus was jacked. Okay.
Okay, that's not a theory. That is fact.
Because he was able to carry that cross for a pretty long ways by himself. And
Listen,
I don't think you're going to be able to do that, on bonbons. All right. So,
first of all, I agree with you. Shout out Nathan Hansen, because we know that Nathan Hansen is also going to agree with that. Carry on. I think this could be scientifically proven, and nobody wants to see Jesus that way. Okay, says the only Jewish person in the room currently. Jesus was jacked. Please fight me on this. Carry on.
So other than having this picture of Jack Jesus in your mind, that Ryan, where has your faith? Because I know, like you said, hey, I'm praying about this. I'm seeing how is this going to work out, and that's just the thing that you're doing, or that's the thing that you're looking at adding or expanding now. How did you use your faith, or how has your faith been a part of, you grow in your gym for 13 years?
Yeah. So it's been a big part of it for the simple fact that um, moving, being raised Catholic, myself and my wife, actually, my wife even going through Catholic school and things of that nature. That's the way that we were raised. And then moving to Texas is, it's spiritually much different. There's, as many churches as there are 7-Elevens on every corner. I had never experienced a mega church, or, what we call mega churches here in Texas in my life. I've heard of them. I've never experienced one in my entire life. My churches were always, this white wooden building that was built in the early 1900s with a beautiful steeple and a church bell and some pews, maybe 100 people at most in them. And that was the way that I grew up and everything that I knew as far as church. And then I moved here. To say my eyes were open wide was saying it lightly. Um, we started in 13ish, and I think, you know, I, I was raised Catholic, but I was never. I don't know how to explain it. We believed in God. We went to Easter services and Christmas services and all the holidays. Weddings were in a Catholic church and funerals were in a Catholic church, and we did that walk, right? But I was never invested into it like I am now, and especially like I've been probably really more in the last year or two, just from personal things that have been going on in our lives and my life. I always knew that it was there, and I've always used it, um, but I've never adhered to it as much as I do now, and that was something that's been a different journey for me in the last year or two. But starting in the gym, it wasn't a super duper huge part. The one gentleman that I alluded to earlier, Brandon Huckabee, we call him Huck, who has the In Jesus Name We Train company I spoke of. I met him. He was in the gym. I started leasing a place that was an existing gym when I got here. He was already there as a personal trainer. He started coaching with me, and he is still with me to this day. He's been with me every step of the way for almost 14 years now. He's one of my best friends in the whole wide world. We've grown together in a lot of ways. In 2015, he introduced me to the church that we go to now, which is Elevate Life Church, one of the churches here in Frisco. He introduced me to it on a men's conference weekend. If you've ever been to that church or heard of it, Pastor Keith Craft is the gentleman there. He actually lives out by y'all in Salina. He is a big dude, 6'4", big guy, loves to lift weights, loves fitness. He's got a big body and a big voice and a big love for God. And he preaches from a very ownership mentality or business mentality of connecting your business life and your spiritual life. And it's leadership 101 there. That's what it's all about. And leadership, and you can take that anywhere you want, in your life, in your family, in your church, everywhere. And it's just played a huge role in kind of who we've been over the years. And once again, with alignment, when I felt like I or we have towed that line really well and been in alignment, things have gone pretty well at the gym. And when we have not towed that line well, or I have not towed that line well, things weren't going so well at the gym. Like, it's very obvious to me. And it's taught us a lot of good lessons. So it's been a big play here. But we're also very cognizant of the community that we represent. Everybody here is not a Christian. Everybody here is not a believer in Jesus. Everybody is not spiritual, and awesome. Like, we love that. The more, the merrier. We're here for a reason of fitness. That's why we're here and what we do. We'll connect a lot of ways. If Christianity is a way that you want to connect, then great. We have a large Indian population in Frisco and in
Yeah.
this gym. And I have learned more about Hinduism and Buddhism and things of their culture than I ever knew was even out there or even possible. I've always kind of been small-minded on that stuff. And some of the gentlemen and ladies will sit in this gym, and yeah, sometimes it's over whiskey or scotch or beers, but we'll talk for hours on stuff, on things I didn't know. And I just try to ask as many questions as I can, because I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact to judge something or someone if I don't know it. That's not who I am. It's not my job. And I really, truly, like going back to it earlier, I want to connect with people. I want to know people. I want to know their lived experiences and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I don't want to say we toe the line as far as not showing it, but we would never push it on folks or cram it on folks or anything like that. If you're here for it, great. If you're not, awesome. We love you too. It doesn't matter to us. So
this is speaking from our experience. We don't, because you asked us about it, they're offline talking about having, Romans 12:2 on our podcast logo there. Is we don't lead with that necessarily, is what I would say. We don't lead with that. However, it is a deep part of what we do. Like you said, on the alignment piece, it's very aligned with what we do, because when you get down to the word level on things and the story that you tell yourself, it's, a lot of that is going to have a biblical nature to it,
yes, sir.
depending on your experience. Stacy, like she said earlier, being raised Jewish, has more Bible knowledge. She's forgotten more than I've ever known.
Right.
And the thing about that is, the thing that I take away from that is, as you pointed out, is the call of a follower of Jesus, from my view, is not to try to beat people over the head with the way that you see the world, right? Or the way that you know it to be. Is more to go like, hey, cool, what do you what do you believe in?
Right.
What do you fall back on when everything else seems to be gone? And like you said, you've towed the line, and when things are, and this is not always how it is. I mean, you can be very faithful and very aligned and still not have things go your way.
Yes, sir.
More often than not is, yeah.
My hand. I'll raise my hand.
That's a truth. I believe that wholeheartedly. However, when you have something to fall back on, when you have truth that you can rely on, the hard times start to zoom out. And one of my favorite quotes, it's actually from Charlie Chaplin, is life viewed through a microscope is a tragedy, and life viewed from afar is a comedy. And so when you have the ability to zoom out, because you can look at things from a scriptural nature, going like, hey dude, I am a speck of dust in a ray of light of what the world is and what God's plan is, that, the fact that I had a couple members leave this month is not that big of a deal, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm still going to continue to do me and figure out how to, figure out how to align that better. But yeah, I agree with what you say in terms of like, you may not believe the same thing I believe, but we do have common ground here. We do
Oh
like
yeah.
sweat together, and we can share a drink, share food, share a whatever. And if that leads to nothing else, then cool. If that leads to you being curious about what I do, also cool. So,
You're right. I agree.
what do you think?
Well, I was thinking of the commonality of fitness. There's something very holy, and I don't use that word lightly, of when breath is involved,
Mm,
right? And so
sure.
there is something very spiritual about working out, right? And so without me getting too geeky on neuroscience, because I totally could, not this podcast, not this day, and it'll just make me sound smart and it doesn't even matter, is that when you combine breath and movement, there's connection there. There's connection with yourself. There's a connection with, "Oh my god, I'm dying," and people pray and
Yeah.
work out like they never did before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's no atheist when thrusters get done
Oh
there.
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
There is there's shared suffering, right?
Yes. That's a great way.
It's shared suffering, and what happens in a gym, right? And I will even say with, my background was yoga. Like, I came from a yoga background, so I know I didn't know that I'd end up in one of the highest densities of Indian populations and Hindus,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
I've got all the bookshelves of text to have common
Yeah.
ground and common conversation that I didn't know that I would get to use as a bridge for
Absolutely.
people who go, "Hey, we don't feel like we fit here either." And
Right.
so when I can say their names properly or talk about their holidays or, enjoy the celebrations of how they do family so well. I didn't know that I'd get to use that later in my life and career, but coming back to when we're doing something physical and choosing a shared suffering is that when you choose a shared suffering of a workout, it equips you to share the sufferings in life because none of us get out of this unscathed. None of us,
Right. Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
life is going to life on in cycles. And so the gift that you get to bring people to where you train is to give them something of I've become all things to all men that I might save some. And if you are giving someone just a little bit of hope, a little bit used on purpose because you saw them that day, because it's personal to you, that's a catalyst that changes their whole ecosystem. And
Absolutely.
for one moment or several moments, it's the things that I love about what we do is we have no idea really the impact that we have. We have no idea the impact we have. And I love that we don't. I'm gonna butcher the quote, but you even said it to me yesterday, is Daisy have amnesia. Like
Yeah.
on the days that we win big, cool. We're gonna celebrate it and we're gonna have amnesia. On the days that we tank and it is that the suck is loud,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're also gonna have amnesia and do the next right thing in front of us. And so what was so attractive, because you and Justin got to meet, and so about having this conversation with you is that your rarity, right? So
Thank you.
when we get to hear people, one who have businesses for 14 years, also people who just have 5 children, like, I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
fist bump, ma'am.
Thank you.
We chose violence. Um, and
It just took us longer. It just took us longer to figure out why it kept happening. That's all.
well, Ryan, here's a funny story, and is that, when my children were little, and there was a time we had 6 kids, and people would stop me in Walmart and ask, like, "Are they all yours?" And I would be like, "No, I bought some on eBay." Okay?
There you go. Yep.
And
Yep.
then I did, several times have people go, "Do you know how that happens? Hand motion at all." And all I would be like, "Yeah, and my husband's hot, like, thanks so
Yeah.
much."
Yeah. What can you say? Not no. That's it.
Seriously, still hot.
Yeah.
So I say that is that, bring it back to the core of what you do. 14 years is a really long time. And so for us, it was like we are not new to coaching, we are newer business owners, right? And so I like to say we are not babypreneurs. Are we toddlerpreneurs? Are we
We're still learning a lot.
we're learning a lot. We're really good at what we do, and entrepreneurship is a different entanglement. And so when you meet somebody who's done it for a long time, I'm always and with such character and takes it personal, because if there's anything, well, there's a lot of things you could say about us, but we care a lot and in the past have stayed too long. So when you talk about members leaving and members going, or where you made your own messes, or when life made messes, we've made I'll say, in immaturity and not having our story straight, stayed in situations longer than were necessary, just from lack of experience. And so now in building our own company, that's very different than the coaching that we do on a daily basis. So when we get to meet someone like you, it's really encouraging, because we're like, where do we align and how do we move this mission of impacting legacy of families and in a way that changes generations? Also, how do we learn from them, for somebody who has so much more reps in something that we have in common? Because not only 5 kids, but an entrepreneur in an industry where most people don't stay 14 years. And then not only you're like, dude, let me double down and add 1,000 square
Yeah.
feet. Let me show you how to
Yeah.
abracadabra, right? And
Yeah.
then you keep your people. Like to hear you say, oh, Evan, is it Evan? Your homie Evan?
Evan, yes.
Evan. In Jesus' name we train.
Oh,
Uh,
that's Huck. That's
that's
Huck.
Huck.
Huck,
But we have
yep.
Huck and Evan.
Evan's head
Y
coach.
Evan's head coach.
Yeah.
Huck's been with him from the beginning.
Huck's
Yep.
like that says
Yep.
so much. So
Yeah.
here's what I want, if you're open talking about it. Even though you say that hey, in the last couple of years is where your faith journey grew, where I'm going to say your practice grew, that you had the principles and you started to practice more, where this came, I'll say, more relational instead of quote unquote more religious, if that's accurate, that
Or
you're
or yeah, or I think before it was more like transactional and
sure.
not enough of me on my side. A lot on God's side, but not enough on my side. So it was very transactional. That so I think that's a difference. It's gone from transactional to more of a relationship, and that's the way that I see it or I feel it.
I love that. That's perfect
Yeah.
language, because is what
Yeah.
you cultivate in the gym is relational.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so what hurts is when those relationships become transactional. We've experienced that too. So talk about how you crafted the culture, which is much going to come back to who you are, to have
Yeah.
this level of longevity that required the endurance you have. Because here's why I want our listeners to hear this, is that and we say it almost every day in our world domination statement, more days than not, is that this took a steady build with plenty of endurance. And in a microwave society that wants results now,
Sure.
is what did that endurance look like for you personally to be able to even have this conversation with us right now?
Um, so I think the two biggest lessons that I can think of going all the way back from day one, and honestly, even to this day, I wouldn't even call myself an entrepreneur. Like I almost feel that I dumb lucked my way into this thing as like this short term bridge until I could get that fire department job that never came. And then once I realized how awesome this short term bridge was, almost 14 years later, here I am. So I don't even like to call myself an entrepreneur because I don't think I'm very good at it, to be totally honest with you. That's probably another podcast that we
I'm
could
like,
have, and you
wait a
could tell
second,
me
Ryan.
about
We said we weren't
self
going to do this.
talk, self talk. So that's some self
I
talk that
think
goes on in my brain.
take out the think, we're going to title that story and write it out.
Yeah. Um, so the biggest thing that I've always known about myself, like I said, and I think we did this offline a little bit, was growing up, I've always just been into public service, never because it was like, this is what you do because it mirrors anything. It was just, hey, this is just what we do. And so serving the public has always been my number one thing, and it's honestly, it's come very natural to me, and I love that aspect of it so much, and that's why I say that I take it personal because I want to care for people, like, forever if I can. That's what I wanted to build the gym community around. The best part of the fire service in the 12 years professionally that I had, and I got to do some super duper amazing things, met some amazing men and women. I did a lot of really cool stuff. The firehouse dinner table was the best hour of the 24 hours. It was just the best time where you could cut up and have conversation. It, everything and anything that you want to talk about talked about at that dinner house at the firehouse conversation and the dinner time. That's where I loved it. I wanted to recreate that hour. That's what I wanted. So CrossFit's always had a tagline and been good with about making it the best hour of their day. And that's exactly what we've adhered to since day one and still do today. I tell my coaches and myself, whatever you've got going on outside of here, personal life, whatever it may be, check it at the door, check your ego at the door, give these people the best hour of their day because you have no clue what they're walking in with. You have no clue what they're going through at home or at work in their personal lives. And if this isn't the best hour of the day, then why would they even want to be here? We're already going to go through some of that. What do we call it? What do
Shared
we call that?
suffering.
Shared suffering, right? They're already going to go through that. We're already going to go through that with them. Why don't we try to make it the best part of their day instead of the worst part of their day? Those are probably the biggest things, is recreating that dinner time conversation at the firehouse, making it the best hour of folks' day. I think we've adhered to that since day one, and that's what we try to stay with.
I really like that because you came into it with you didn't come into it trying to do something. You came into it really trying to recreate a feeling,
Yes,
right?
sir.
I love how I
Yeah.
feel when I get to sit down with people of common, like, we do hard things together. Firehouse is going to be pretty uh, succinct group of people, right?
Yeah.
But then you recreate that around fitness. Hey, this person may be like, a regional levels athlete, and this person just walked in a week ago and doesn't even know never couldn't name one CrossFit movement, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so you get those people together and they're like, yeah, man, that's the cool part about CrossFit. Or, the methodology is like, it sucks for everybody, right? You can look over
Yeah.
there and
Yeah.
you may be doing 225 deadlifts, and that person may be doing, some other, optimization of that movement, just lifting the bar or just doing some other type of hinge. And you're like, yeah, it sucks for both of us equally, right?
Absolutely.
At
Yeah.
our level. And so
Yeah.
when it goes like, okay, cool, we can share that suffering together, then you also get an aspect of friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, relationship, however you want to
Absolutely.
term that. And coming in with that objective, like you said, I can see how I can see how you would get to, you know what, man, I don't
Yeah.
really know what this is because this wasn't even a part of I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be here. I wasn't
This is
supposed
not my plan. This is not my plan. This is
I'm going
not.
to sign up for another 1,000 square feet. This is not my plan, and
Yeah.
I'm not an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm
I
making a
know.
lot of classes for a lot of other people, and I am not an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. I
I'm
am
telling
serving
you,
my community in such a great way and meeting needs of personal service, and I'm
yeah.
not a good entrepreneur.
I I think I need coaching on self-talk. That's all I can really think of. So if you guys know anybody, you can give me references after.
So, Ryan,
Yeah.
we get to play with you right now because offline, this is what we do to each other.
Good.
All day in
I'm
the
down with
office
that.
when we get to, and I'll say catch, but that means you're looking for it. This is the choice, like the friction, right? You choose in growth, and we get to play with the language with you, and people get to hear it on the podcast between us. And you got to listen to the podcast of last week where the victim mentality literally snuck up and, bit me on the nose
Right.
because
Yep.
it's sneaky like that, and it is work for all of us. So I've got another question for you, because I love when we have guests, because I'm confident, like parents, that our listeners listen to other people more,
Sure.
more than they'll listen to us. Is I want you to speak to the person who isn't fit yet, or they were fit and they've lost their way, and their story is keeping them from coming back. Because the hardest thing is the walk in the front door,
Yes.
right? And we
Absolutely.
watch,
I say that all the time.
the hardest thing is walking in the front door. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the second hardest thing is after you've seen some progress, when you stop being a beginner and your body starts to be like, cool, you got all those gains, you're gonna have to wait for some now.
Right.
And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
phase two. Phase one.
Yep.
So I'd love you to speak to both. To the person who's coming in brand new with an old story of, I used to be able to, right? Or I can't do this anymore. Let's start with, I speak directly to that person first. And then on the athlete who has made it, been there. They're a year in, they've,
Yeah.
they've got some camaraderie, and they're not seeing the, here's my air quotes for progress, even though I don't know that
Yeah.
anybody will watch this, the
Right.
progress that they think they should have. You take the mic,
Sure.
sir.
Yeah. The folks that are brand obviously, like we've talked about, I love all the folks that come through the door. But to me, the most rewarding folks are the ones that are brand new, that they take that leap to make a phone call or send me a text message or an email. And then that's the first leap, and that's hard. Then the next leap is when we set up a meeting, either it be, hey, let's come talk face to face, or just come in on a free Saturday workout. That's kind of the second leap that they have to take to get here. And I tell them when they get here, you've done the hardest part. Once you get here, us as coaches, we've got you covered the rest of the hour. Let's just make it here first. But for the folks that are brand new, it's CrossFit. The name itself is intimidating because people can read and watch videos, right? So it gets very intimidating. And I understand that. The beauty is if you find a good fit and a good community that honors the person that's been there 1 week and the person that's been there 10 years just the same, then you find yourself a really good community. When people move, and we get a lot of people moving to this area, right? People will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I want to do it like a gym trial. Can we do that?" And yes, I always actually suggest they do two or three different places. I want to make sure that they find what they're looking for: a good community, a good culture, good coaches, good programming. Do you feel comfortable there? Things of that nature. I want them to feel comfortable, just like we want to feel comfortable with them as well. Um, but the biggest thing is walking through the door. After that, realizing that, and we alluded to this earlier, everybody in the gym is dying at some point of the workout. And I always tell our new people, hey, I'll go whisper in their ear, hey, I know you think that everybody's looking at you right now, but they're actually not. Everybody in here is dying together. They are happy you're here, just like I'm happy you're here. Worry about yourself. Speak good to yourself, move fluidly, just listen to what I'm saying. We're going to help you out, and it'll all be over, in an hour. That's really the best thing that I can say about brand new folks that kind of walk in the doors. Everybody's suffering in there together, and we just like to do that together. So that's probably what I'd say for the newer folks.
Okay.
Um,
Now speak to the people
yeah,
who aren't new anymore, because those are the people that are
yeah,
more common, because that's where memberships stay, right? So if we're looking at, like,
yes,
when people leave gyms, it's when they think it's not working.
yeah.
It should look different.
Yeah, so when you're brand new, you've got this huge-eyed approach of all these things that you can't do. I can't clean, I can't snatch, I can't deadlift, I can't do a pull-up, I can't do a muscle up, I can't do this, all of these things. Well, then after a year or two, you start getting really good at stuff. And so then what I tell those folks is remember why you're here, remember how you got here, right? And then you've got to really dial in your focuses of like, I've always told folks, pick one gymnastic movement, one cardio movement, and one barbell movement that you're not very good at. Focus on that for a month or two with extra work. with work in the classes that are very intentional about what you're doing when you're doing it, and try not to get really good at everything all at the same time. That's, I think, the biggest mistake that folks find is like, oh, I've been here a year and I can do a pull up, but I can't do a chest to bar or a muscle up. And I haven't been able to squat clean 300 or snatch 225 yet. And it's like, whoa, those are huge goals and those are awesome, but we are all over the board. That's the shotgun approach. It's all over the board. You've got to single shot rifle that thing in and start with very small focuses one at a time. So that's the biggest thing that I'll say for folks. They'll find more reward in that anyway, because they'll see the incremental progress as opposed to just, I'm not good, I'm not good, I'm not good. And oh, I got pretty good at that all of a sudden. And they don't know why, right?
All
If
of a
they're not
sudden,
focusing
it's
on it.
magical.
All of a sudden, it's
All
like,
of a
oh my
sudden.
gosh. Yeah. So that's the way that I would differentiate between those two folks.
Man, I love a couple of things that one that I've experienced. So this is not something that Stacy would know, and two, one of the things that I like to say. So I'll start with that. I like to say because people always ask. Some people ask me like, "What goals do you have as far as physical?" And I go, "Dude, I have one goal, and that is to be super medium." Okay. My goal is super medium. So think about, and I got this from a former special or a special operator who I heard on a podcast. He was like, dude, in special operations, you too big, you're going to suffer somewhere. You're too small, you're going to suffer somewhere. You're too slow, you're
Yeah.
going to suffer somewhere. Too fast, you're going to suffer
Yeah.
somewhere. Dude, the goal is to be as about as super medium as you can be and be competent in several areas, but not the best in any one thing. Right. And that was one of the things that I appreciated when I did find CrossFit was, okay, cool. You can be good at a lot of things, or you can come in good at one thing and be better at other things, like grow your capacity in other things. And this rising, if you've ever been through, an L1 certification, right? The rising trend of the graph, right?
Yeah.
And so all that to be said is super medium. Love use that term, right? Another thing that you do really well there, Ryan, is you talk about making people like whisper in the new member's ear, like, "Hey, don't worry, nobody's looking at you."
Yeah.
You also make sure that everybody looks at them at least once, and it's when they sign their name and up on your screen
Yes, sir.
in Ryan's gym, when they sign into the class, everybody's name is up on a screen, like in little
Ooh,
boxes, like little icons, right? And so you, like me, as the new guy in the gym, when I went
you were the new guy?
yeah, I was the new guy,
Could they tell?
the new guy with the baby. Oh, they could tell because I was the only one there with the baby.
Yeah.
And Ryan was great
Which
at
we love.
yeah,
They're,
Ryan was like,
they're,
his
they're
whole goal was to get Blakely to smile at him the whole time. Yeah.
yeah. And I did it. We got it. Took me about
He's a
30 minutes, but I did. She did.
Oh, she was holding out.
yeah, she was holding that on him.
Oh, yes. Oh, she was playing hard to get. There's no doubt. She was doing good. He should be proud.
And so everybody, I'd never been to I don't, if I have been to a gym where that was a thing, it's been a long time. And so anyway, Ryan was like, "Hey, all right, everybody, this is what we're doing today. By the way, this is Justin. This is his first time visiting us and whatever." Right. And everybody just kind of like, I just kind of like, we gave a little hand wave. And then a guy who sat up across from me on the rig started asking me a few questions because we had a lifting portion, and then we had a conditioning portion. But the point being is that yes, not everybody's not looking at you because they're concentrated on themselves, but also I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that you're here so that, and I'm
Absolutely.
sure that's multi-purpose, is like so that you feel welcome, but also going back to what Stacey said, so that you feel seen. And that can be uncomfortable because
Oh,
they
yeah.
think they're going to
Yeah.
walk into a class of 10, 20 people or whatever, and they're going to be able to be like, nobody really know that I'm here. I'm like, dude, it's a CrossFit gym. People know that you're
Yeah.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
People know that you're
Yeah.
there.
For us, it's a part of, I mean, I don't use the term loosely, the word family. And it really is a family. This is an extended family, right? Um, to be totally honest, I'm probably more of a therapist on most days of the week than I am an actual coach, to be totally honest with you. And
We know.
I love that.
We know,
Yeah, I
Ryan.
mean,
We know your job. You do a great job.
I I love that stuff. Like that, I'm here for that. Then anyway, so like you can side that, but that word family is what it is. And so if you're going to bring your new boyfriend or your new girlfriend to meet your family, like you're just not going to walk into dinner and have them sit down and start eating. Hey, this is my new friend Justin. He's here to hang out, and it's going to meet your mom and dad and everybody else. And, it's a family. That's what you do. You introduce each other. So,
I wanna go I wanna play at Ryan's gym.
You wanna play at Ryan's
I
gym?
wanna
You would
play
love Ryan's
yeah,
gym. Ryan's gym
yeah.
has a lot of space. He also, because of that addition or whatever, there's, room to navigate. And of course we would have commonality with Dr. Matt.
Well, I think here's what
We have to go to a class with
okay,
Dr. Matt.
that's what I'm really thinking. Okay, so Ryan, don't tell him, and we need to look at the schedule, and so we can make it work in our schedule, that we hijack Dr. Matt's class, that we are the surprise guest for Dr.
Okay.
Matt, and we
That'd
just
be
show
great.
up and and I
A-
mean, I'll bring cookies too.
ambush him.
Oh, yes. Yes, because he
Cookies.
doesn't get us together very
Ryan's
often. I will
like,
bring cookies.
Cookies.
That's
Cookies.
how
All
Dr.
right.
Matt feels about it too. You could ask him about my
Sweet.
son.
Yeah.
My son, Jonathan goes to see him too, and I sent Jonathan with
Okay.
cookies, and Jonathan is now known as the cookie
Wow.
guy.
Let's go.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, Jonathan's known as the cookie guy.
uh,
Great.
I'd love to do that. One, so we get to experience more of, Ryan's family, but two, if we can give Dr. Matt a hard time, I mean,
Even better.
I'm so down for that.
do you want to hear a funny story of how Ryan saved me, probably $120.
Oh, I'd love to hear this.
I almost left my brand new canes at the gym.
You did
I did.
not.
Yeah. Me and him were, shooting the bull back and forth and having a conversation and this and that, very similar to what we've done here. And I had Blakely, and so she was getting like kind of sort of starting to get cranky. So I was like, I need to get her in the truck so I can start driving. She started falling asleep. So I was just focused on getting back to the truck once I was, at the doorway. And I called Paige as soon as I got into the car, and I like am driving away, and I don't know if I saw him, heard him, or whatever. He's like holding my shoes up in
Shoes,
the air.
like, come
Yeah.
back.
Don't
That
forget
guy.
these.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, I'm so there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so fun. Ryan, since this is choose your adventure, um, what question do you have for us? What's on your mind that you'd love an opportunity to ask us?
Well, meeting Justin and then kind of him giving me a little bit of kind of what you guys do and how you've got together over the years and started this business and all. It's just gotten me thinking more and more about the mindset stuff because it's something. And Justin and I had talked about this where all of my kids are, well, the youngest is 5. I guess he's not an athlete yet, but the other 4 are all athletes. And so we speak to them a lot. We speak about leadership and things of that nature. And I shared with him CrossFit Invictus, which is a super popular CrossFit in California. I read a book a long, long, long time ago that they wrote that was called The Invictus Mindset. And one of the things that I love to quote that has always stuck with me that we've told our kids constantly, especially our daughters, is that little voice that's in your head, right? When you're in the middle of a competition, a workout, or in the middle of a volleyball game or football game, whatever it is, that little voice that's in your head, if it was portrayed over the loudspeaker for everybody in the stadium or the room to hear, would you be proud of that voice or not? And that's how you kind of have to talk to yourself and dictate where you go and what that voice says. I kept thinking about that conversation and what would be y'all's advice, or how do you all frame that to your people when you're speaking specifically to athletes? Um, how would y'all frame that text or that conversation with somebody?
I'm going to take this twofold, and I'm going to make it personal first and then I'll talk to you about how we take it to our clients because I am a newer athlete.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I didn't see
Yes, sir.
myself as an athlete, so I'm not sure how much of the origin story of Justin and I you got to hear. We'll do it briefly, but he was my coach. Almost 4 years ago, um, I didn't pick him. God
Okay.
handed him to me on the internet.
Okay. Excellent.
It was really random. It's a different story when we have time to sit down. We can tell you of really how we got here because we didn't choose it. This isn't a story
Okay.
that works on paper. Having had my own health and fitness journey for most of my life, right? Having lost weight, gained weight, had success, not success, and carrying a lot of stress of 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 all of that. When we started working together, I was 250 pounds. and strong, still strong. And I thought I could outwork a stress response. It took me, I mean, we're 3, almost 4 years in now, a long time to see myself as an athlete,
Okay.
right? So it would be like, "Oh, he was like, "I see she's an athlete." And I'm like, "I am so sorry, you're high." Okay, that's
Yeah.
like that identity piece. And so here's where the voice comes from. That internal voice is a story that we replay over
Okay.
and over and over again. Those stories are made out of words, words that I said to myself, words that other people said to me, words that I should be better at this. I mean, I was a fitness professional with in the
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
I was teaching mindset and yoga, and this body at the time was not built to be in those rooms, and I hid behind body positivity. And so if you ask how my story has changed over the last um, I'd say 2.5 years, because more of a practice of the last year of seeing myself as an athlete. W As somebody who shows up at CrossFit now, who is a runner, it was that identity, and that identity is a collection of stories. And so it
Okay.
came with changing the words regardless of how loud the voice is, and releasing the outcome, releasing the pressure on it. So what we do for our clients is literally what we do for ourselves every single day. And that voice, I love the analogy of the microphone, is still very much shows up in a workout.
Yes.
It showed up at the open. And so it doesn't, not that it goes away, it's I acknowledge it, take a breath and go, I've got a different story now. And I'm going to choose the new story even when the voice comes up. Even when the run doesn't go like I want it to, which is completely made up, by the way. Or or I didn't get, what was it? I wanted, it was what, 26.1? I just wanted to hit 66. I just
Yeah.
wanted to get to the 66, which is a completely made up
An
number.
arbitrary number. Yeah.
Yeah, I make up rules for no good reason all the time, for a sense of I have some semblance of control. So it would be not the voice that shows up. How quickly can I shift the narrative to the new story I'm telling myself? And that is the daily reps of the words that
Okay.
I use to talk about myself. The bully voice is going to show up. It's been there for 49 years.
Yeah.
So I have to
Yeah.
go, when it shows up, okay, I see, what do you actually need right now? And how can I shift it? How does it show up for you?
So I'll go back to like what Ryan, like to Ryan's question is like, what would you say to them? Is first of all, I would say look at the words that you're using. Like
Mhm.
go down to the words. This is why we talk so much about the mechanics of mindset, like literally the words that are making up the sentence.
Yeah.
I should be
Yeah.
able to lift this. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Well, there's a should in there. We know that's a piece of soft talk, right? You got that on that
Yeah.
card that I gave you, and
Yep.
we actually go through the exercise when we do workshops called the should detox, and we move it one word at a time and actually make it into a different statement. Okay, we call that translating. And so, number one is, can you translate this into something that feels better? And it's not, when I say feel, I don't mean like, oh, that felt like I felt like crap and now I feel great. It's not positivity in that sense. It's, this thing is pressurizing you, pressurizing your head, and putting more consequence on this thing that you're doing than is necessary, right?
Yep.
And the
Okay.
consequence may really be there, right? Like as far as like you know, I'm gonna I'm gonna be a huge disappointment if I don't make this lift, right? If you're like in the middle of a competition and you're the superstar, okay, cool. That may be close to accurate, but at the end of the day, most of the time, it's not that big a deal. Secondly, is you already worked hard enough to get to the point that you're at. Why are we well, how are we putting more pressure than is necessary, right? We really don't care much about the why. That's really therapy's job, and we're not, licensed and trained therapist. Cool. We go for the how. Okay, Ryan, how are you talking yourself into this scenario? Let's literally externalize the words, because most people's stories stuck in their head. We write them down and go, I should be better at handstands by now.
Sure. Yeah. I understand that.
You see what I'm saying? And so I'm going to go
Yes,
with
sir.
get it out of your head, first of all, then let's work on it. That's the thing, because mechanics don't work on cars driving 80 mile an hour down the highway, pop the hood and start
Right.
changing parts. You got to park it. You got to get it on
Yeah.
something, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
so
good.
it's preemptive. It's a lot like what Dr. Matt does. It's preemptive work, but it's also, hey, okay, cool. What did you're not going to catch, you're not going to bat 1,000. You're not going to catch every piece of, negative self-talk that you have. So what happened out
Absolutely.
there? But tell me about it. Right. And so then we can get into, like Stacy said, that identity, which is a collection of stories, because, you know, let's say it's, your youngest sibling who's an athlete, and they look at the older sibling like, well, I've got to at least be that good because we had the
Right.
same last name. It's like, well, you're two different
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we're definitely in the middle of that at home right now with our daughters for sure.
is that helpful?
Yes, very much. Absolutely. Yeah, and we talk to our kids a lot about this stuff and about mindset stuff and what are you telling yourself in the middle of it. We try to get it out of them in that raw emotion period where it's like, if I'm speaking specifically, like my older daughter, she's 16, plays club volleyball at a pretty high level, wants to play in college. So it's like when you at the end of this set and you miss the serve into the net, and that's like the final game point for the other team, you just lost the set. Like, what did you feel right then? Like, what did you say to yourself right then and there? And we can't always get to them right away because it's like maybe that was the first set. We still got to play two more. But we try to ask them that stuff and get it out of them when it's raw emotion because I think that's when they'll just say it instead of thinking about how to soften it for mom and
Yeah.
dad to make sure we don't feel bad or we don't get upset or something like that. The rawer, the better. But
Yeah. For an athlete, I think it's a couple things. It's I don't think I know just based on experiences, keeping the focus small. So like they're blowing up, the entire game is on them, and you're like, no, 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 it's this point, it's this serve, it's whatever position that you're in, it's that thing. So shrinking the focus, having a little bit of a physical release. So like maybe it's a jump, maybe it's a wiggling of the shoulders, maybe it's a
that's
whatever it
pretty
is, it's
good.
a tactile
That's a
thing.
great idea.
And then the
Yeah.
third thing would be an anchoring statement, right? Like let it rip, be nasty,
Tape.
go for it.
Yeah.
Right. Like whatever in their head that gets them to like shrink back into this moment, because what they're doing is they're pulling themselves away from the moment. And now all of a sudden they've attached, it's basically like they're going into the next set with a kettlebell in their left hand. Cause now they've
Yeah.
attached the weight of the
Sure.
last thing into the next thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that, man. That the body movement coupled with some type of a statement like that, an action statement, that's beautiful. That's awesome.
It's a
What
Yeah.
pattern
Yeah,
interrupt.
it's a pattern
Yeah.
interrupt because they're getting
I
sucked
love that.
into that victim mentality based on the words that they're using in their head, and they don't even
Yeah.
know it, Ryan. They don't even know
That's
that.
really good.
And so when I'm on a run and I'm like getting heavy, I tell myself, chip away, go all day. I don't need to. I'm not worried about mile 5. I'm worried about the next half mile. I'm worried about the next quarter mile, the next couple steps. If I chip away, I can go all day. I might have to slow down. I may even have to walk. Cool. I'm not against anybody. I'm here with me.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
little statements, little movements, settling the focus in, and the next rep, right? The next rep. And so, yeah, that's for athletes specifically, that tactic is really, really helpful.
That's really good. That's really good.
This is so fun.
Yeah, this is fun. I know Ryan's got to go be Coach
I
Ryan.
gotta go be a bad entrepreneur over here for a little bit.
Yeah, he does. He gets to.
He gets to go be a
I
bad
can't wait.
entrepreneur.
I can't wait
Yeah.
to hear what happens between now and then, man.
Oh my
what Ryan
gosh.
gets to
Yeah.
do.
I cannot
Yeah.
wait.
Ryan, I'm so excited. This was the
Cool.
best.
I do have one last question for you, Ryan, as far as
Yes, sir.
you asking about what we do and, just knowing a little bit about it. I gave you the soft talk keyword sheet, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice anything? Like, did you start to notice that in other people's language, in your own language, text, emails, anything? Did you do anything with that? What happened? I'm just curious as to, because we didn't get to really talk very much about it, but a little.
It's me. That's why I noticed mostly is just in me, and I kind of alluded to a little bit at it in this conversation we've had of where in the quiet times, because there's a lot of quiet times in our life, right? When the voices are the loudest or something is not going the way you want it to or you anticipated it to, is a lot of that language, a lot of that soft talk that's in there that it's debilitating. I mean, it really is, and it's the way that that you said it, Stacy, the collection of stories. Oh man, I wrote it down. I've been writing little things down as we're going or whatever, and that just hit me. That identity being a collection of stories that's very true stuff. And that card is full of words that are just like it's almost like cussing when you when you look at the words, you're like, ugh, looks like cuss words. Why are we even saying that stuff? So, uh, yeah, it's a good stuff. Now the question would be, or maybe the other part of your question is, what have I done with it other than read it? Just start to self-identify it. I have not attempted to pinch myself or snap a
Please
rubber
don't.
band on my wrist
Please
or do
don't.
anything yet. I haven't started to punish myself for it.
We're not
Yeah.
attaching a pain response. Please
Yeah.
don't do that. That is not the
Yeah.
pattern interruption.
Okay, good. Because I haven't started that yet, but it's been
Please
in my
don't.
mind. Maybe I'll just wear a rubber band every day and
Let's
snap it every time.
we've got better practices
Yeah.
Sweet. I was
than
hoping for that.
than
Well,
that.
and our overarching goal, because we want to grow with people organically, locally, is because you get it, is to go like, okay, can we come in and help other Ryan's people that he cares about, them also get it, and then infuse that into the next however many years that you're expanding, growing, and operating, and the next crop of people, right? Is like,
Yes, sir.
these people
Yeah.
know what soft talk is now. And we have a standard at our gym that says, hey, we're not saying that this is a no-no, like shame on you, but like, watch it, like, see how many times it shows up, like that kind of thing. Just be aware of it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so that was my curiosity there, is because it was really more of a side, because we had a bigger conversation that really wasn't about mindset. We were talking about, faith and family and business and and then we parted ways. So,
good.
Yes, sir.
anywho, very cool. Well, Ryan, thank you
Yeah.
for your
Absolutely.
time, man. I know we did this quick, but that was the whole point. Is I wanted to get it in here and get you however you were today.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. And, I appreciate the confidence and just meeting over a week or so ago, whatever it was, and feeling like you wanted me to include on something that's so personal to both of you because it's your business and everything. So that's special for me. So I hope I was able to provide you or help you with whatever you needed and
Hey,
whatever your listeners needed. So
this is just the first time, Ryan.
yeah,
We're just starting
I'm
this
good
whole
with that.
relationship thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I
Yep.
heard you want
Yep.
cookies, and
I do. I love cookies. Yep. The bigger the
I'm
chocolate chips, the better.
here. I'm here to deliver. I'm here to
Okay,
deliver.
sweet. I'm on it.
We'll put it on the schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, as always, everybody, where to go to find all the cool stuff in the show notes. I'll put the link to Ryan's gym's website here, North Frisco Athletics. And so you guys go check out what he's got going on there. And as always, the fastest way to change the world is to go home and love your family.
Amen.